Hey guys, Reyfar here, and tonight, I'm going to talk about Heat 4, which curiously was published in 2007, which means there's a year gap between Heat 3 and 4, and I'm not sure why, probably just schedules or something happened, and then they couldn't get it out in that year. As far as I know, there's no information I've seen any which way why that's the case, but after that it's like steady. I think I'm pretty sure like it was one every 1 year. Before I forget, the lovely cover this time is done by Fluke, who's still around these days, I'm pretty sure, though I don't follow the artist much these days. And the back cover is a nice landscape done by Blotch. Personally, I like the back better, but I mean the front's a better front cover, if that makes any sense. And actually, I quite like it. So it probably means nothing, but on the front cover of this one, it says "Come for the sun, but stay for the heat," which is pretty fun. So Heat 4 has 7 entries in it this time around. And I guess I want to preface this video with I'm probably going to sound a lot jaded and a bit dull when it comes to my opinion, because that's just the mood I've got lately. It's not that I'm not as impressed, it's just right now just lying there. So, the first story, Loudly the Maid, by Alex Vance, and illustrated by Sarah Palmer, which the problem is, because it's illustrated by Sarah Palmer and set kind of Renaissance era, kind of in a castle or something, I kept thinking of Vol when I was reading it, but I don't think it's set in the Argaea, just like a similar kind of universe. So, actually has a really cool, cover piece for the short story, and I actually quite like. Loudly the Maid is a pretty, I guess, a pretty simple narrative with a really big twist towards the end. I quite like Alex Vance's writings, but I haven't read too much, if that makes any sense. Like, aside from Haven City back in the day, which I guess I was thinking how I probably should call Haven City a failed project because it was never finished. You can't buy it anymore, and sadly it's probably going to be forgotten despite the amazing work done by all the artists. But yeah, and then I read his story in X, and then like 1 or 2 online, and then a story that was set in the Argaea universe that was in like a Furnation magazine. I can't remember what issue. And that was about it. But I always do like his stuff whenever I see it. But this time around, I really didn't like the twist at the end, which fucking spoilers. After the sexual interlude, Loudly kills someone and like kind of takes their place, and like kind of digesting that and then thinking about it and then like looking through the text and like, oh yeah, I can see where the author was going, trying to kind of set up how the kind of opinion of the character, where he's a very kind of opportunist. Like, he's an incredible opportunist. But what I found really weak is that it wasn't that strong enough that he was going to take such a drastic step, and I still don't know what the fuck he was doing in the castle in the first place. Like, was that his whole plan along, to kill this maid? Like, it seems very happenstance, and there's a little things that try to flesh out his character, and I felt they fell a bit short. But I still like it because it's not something I read too often or see around, I think is a better way to put it. It's not something I see too often, but I think that's mostly just it, like, because it's a very strong focus character piece on Loudly, and yeah, I felt a bit short towards the end. So moving on. Actually, one thing I did want to say is that it, at least for me, it really just killed my motivation to read Heat after reading that story first. It's like just having kind of blatant murder, just cold-blooded murder, mind you. It's just like, oh my god, is this what I want to read in Heat? And it was really like, oh my god, I don't want to read anymore. So I put it down for that day, and so yeah, like maybe towards the end, if it was up to me, I'd put that one at the end, and I'd put Don't Blink first, because it's a lot lighter. Don't Blink's lighter in tone, and Loudly the Maid's darker in tone, and you don't really know towards the end. So the next comic is Chance Happenstance, which is one that probably everyone's seen around. I think it's kind of mostly free. I'm pretty sure it's up on like the FA gallery, which is it's a pretty cool simple chance happenstance encounter between a sheepdog and a fox, and then this other sheepdog comes in and they fuck, and then the fox makes away with the sheep. And yeah, it's just a fun comic. I quite like it, despite the fact it does look beautiful. It is amazing. That comes along with Blotch's artwork. I guess for people that don't know, Blotch was a collaboration between the two artists, Ken Cat and Black Teagan, and they are Tess, Garman, and oh my god, I forgot the other one. I put it in the show notes, so that way I'll make up for it to save me from looking. But they both do work a lot with Heat towards later on. So I think I'm not sure when it starts, but they're definitely in the later issues. They're there working with the layout and some of the kind of art design and stuff, and they appear in the credits. Yeah, so the next entry in oh my god, what am I talking about? In Heat is First Taste by Reyfar, illustrated by Fel. Yeah, Fel. They're another artist I've kind of just forgot about. Like, they were kind of big and new and cool fucking 8-10 years ago at this point. I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure they're probably still around. I just probably don't know. But yeah, it's also Reichen's first debut in Heat. And so I read this story a couple weeks ago, or something like that, and I really liked it then. And then when I didn't really want to reread it a second time because I just wasn't in the mood. And then I forced myself to reread it like yesterday, and just like to know that I've read it when I'm going through Heat, then to kind of just cop out. And I mean, I still like it. It's still a good story. Like, it's really, I really like the tone and the character voice that does she have a name? The mouse character. Yeah, I don't think she has a name, but it might come up in later stories. But yeah, it's a very kind of strong personal recount of the first time she watched someone have sex, because she's kind of like a sex addict or like a sex maniac. She's really big into the idea and doing stuff like personally, but she's not there socially to get into a sexual relationship. And I quite like that. Like, now that I'm talking about on that level, it's like, oh, this is actually a really cool story. But I guess from kind of the flat point of like just kind of reading it, I don't know. I wouldn't. I feel bad saying that like it falls short, but I think there's probably something there with this story and trying to read it through again. What it is, I don't know. It could all just entirely be my mood. But no, I do like her a lot, and I want to kind of follow the character, because the author did tell me that there's other stories with her, and I want to see where he takes her. Oh, he took her, because it's in the past, because this is like fucking 10 years ago at this point. But yeah, like yeah, I'm probably just repeating, but yeah, the tone's really cool and whatever. What was something else I really freaking liked? I think it's really just the language in it. Like, it's a very personal language. Like, you get a good sense about her from it. So the next entry in Heat 4 is a lovely poem, illustrated by Alum Skrill, isn't it? Yeah, Alum Skrill again. Which I love the illustration on this and the layout and how it's presented, and so I you know, if it were possible, I'd love to get like a nice proper print of this and frame it and like put it up, because I think it would look quite lovely. It's a nice kind of, I guess you could say, romantic and just a nice subtle poem between these two lovers that are most likely squirrels, and yeah, I just like it. It's nice, and hopefully it stays with me. But I'll talk about it in conclusion. But yeah, so that was. Oh, it was also written by the artist, Alum Squirrel. So yeah, just like Jonas. Alright, so speaking of Jonas, the next story is the last Coyote story, and well, this already gets 5 stars because it's a story with Coyote and the mythical version, which makes it cooler. Because I always love those in like fairy stories whenever I come across them, because I really like Coyote with a capital C as a character. This time around, it's pretty good. You know, Jaded Me says, you know, it's not amazing, like it's not take home, like oh my god, you gotta read this. But I think it mostly falls short. I think it mostly falls short in that area in just the main kind of plot. It's not very an exciting kind of last Coyote story. He's like, oh, he gets tricked. Like, okay, but you know, I thought it would be a bigger trick than what it was. But again with this one, I quite like the language and kind of the perspective and tone of it. It's very kind of omnipotent, far back third person kind of in. I need to look this shit up so I can describe it better. Like it's kind of a cross between a retelling and then someone that's watching all this stuff go on, and then they know everything around it, and yeah, it's cool. I quite like it. It's pretty light on the sex, which is pretty cool too. Oh, actually, there was one thing I was thinking when I was reading this earlier today, is that like I guess in hindsight and today's modern context, one of the other character in a woman chief is a bit badly written in terms of like, I wouldn't say kind of a misogynistic perspective or something, but you know, she's a very weak female character. Like she's kind of there to serve her purpose to Coyote, and like, you know, it says like, when, you know, she's the strongest and she's the best and she can beat all the men, but you know, in practice she just seems like a very kind of a woman's after sex kind of thing, and I'm just like, oh no. But you know, I should probably think about it a bit more and explain a bit more better than that. But I just had that general thought with the piece, and it didn't sit right, and it doesn't sit right with me. Yeah. Oh, this one was illustrated by Jonas as well, who did another amazing job. Oh, and then the next comic in it is Motion of the Ocean by Fluke, who did the cover. This one, I feel like pretty much every fairy's seen at this point. I think if there's anything that Fluke is famous for, it's for this comic, because oh my god, I still see it to this day. Like, you know, you know, you talk to that furry, and then, you know, he's got his icons, a picture of a dog person by Fluke, and then, you know, he's talking to you about this comic, and it's like, oh, okay. despite the fact it's fucking, 2016 or 2017, it's like, how are you still, like, dredging up this art from the past? Which is a weird way to sum up how I think of this comic, but that's what Fluke does to me, like, oh my god. So yeah, aside from all that, I actually like this comic. It's a pretty kind of neat, I guess normal, with quotation marks again, kind of setting and plot. These guys, they hook up on a cruise, and they're a bit more adult than usual, and it's like there's lots of motion in the comic, with a lot of panels. Like, there's a lot, kind of, I guess, going on compared to, like, some of the other comics that appeared in the previous eights, where they kind of just, shot, sex, text, and whatever. There's a lot more going on here with the art style, which is actually really nice. Like, not, I mean, the other one was, chance, happenstance by Blotch, but, compared to that, this is, like, it's super cool. I should stop talking without train of thought. But, everything's like, there's a lot more emotion going on here, and the text isn't too heavy, and there's a lot going on between these characters that they're not just conveying with text, like they're conveying with the ears and tails, and then just, I guess, the general emotion of comics. But yeah, and I quite like the way it ends. Like, it ends with, typical hopeful, like, will they get together after they get off the boat? But, they're both realistic about it, Like, they're probably too optimistic than what you'd find these days, of, like, written in the fandom. But, it's a sign of the times. Actually, this panel up here got a chuckle of me where he tells, like, the other lifeguard, like, hey, cover for me, and she's like, nah. Actually, one thing I totally like is that there's a lot of panels where he's panting because, he's a dog person. I'm like, oh yeah, I love that touch. Actually, another thing that's a sign of the times is how they don't have phones. Well, I mean, they're on a cruise, so that's probably why they don't have phones. But he's got a watch on his hand, and he's waiting for him. I'm like, oh my god, that's so cute. I remember when I had a watch and I had to wait someone, and I couldn't constantly text them. I'm like, where the hell are you? It's like 10 past. Come on, like, oh god, I said 6. Like, where are you? Like, I just left. I'm on my way. Like, well, then why don't you just leave and yeah. I'm that guy that's always there beforehand. Like, I'm fashionably early, and I'm stuck with dickheads that take their time. Yeah. Oh, and one thing that I quite like is that the whole, like, oh, you're gay, I'm gay, it's not really forced and kind of, what's the word? Cringy. It's not cringy, like, because sometimes, you read back, it's like, oh, it's a bit hard to read. But no, I quite like it, one. Oh, actually, one thing that I did want to say is that, oh, what's the fucking like? Oh yeah, so they go out for dinner, whatever, and then after dinner they go dancing, and then before they leave dancing, they're like, they make the older dog guy. Actually, I don't know their fucking names. The older dog guy, he's like, they go after sex, and he makes a comment about it being like 3 or in the morning or something, and then so they've been up all day because they were at the pool, so I assume they're getting up at 9 or whatever, like normal people, and so they have dinner, go party, it's free, and then they have sex, and then they still manage to I'll try and cover all the fucking sheaves and dicks here, is they still manage to catch the sunrise. And, they're not tired. I'm like, they've been up for like 24 hours, like, close enough. or 20 hours, and you know they had sex, they danced a lot. You know, they should be buggered as fuck. Yet they still got time to look lovingly at the sunrise, and that was my big problem with it. Oh man. Actually, that kind of reminds me of Kyle's Shadow of the Father, where it takes place over like a week or weekend mostly. And yeah, so the last story is Don't Blink by Kyle Gold, which I have kind of talked about. It's illustrated by oh my god, I hope I pronounced his name right. John Newmarker, something like that. Who's also known as Kuna. He's been around a while, and you know he does another amazing job here. What I love about this short story and his work is where's the page? Oh, I went by it. Is this last page here where it's got like all these kind of like card drawings of all the superhero characters, like to do with the doghouse, and you know, Crypto Fox still looks like nothing like I imagined Crypto Fox. And oh my god, can I hold it better? There we go. Red Lightlean's costume looks a bit goofy there, personally. But I quite like Moxie using the bottom in the middle there, the reporter crow. So yeah, so Don't Blink, it's a pretty cool short story to do with one of his superhero characters. I think it's the first one, or an early one at least. I think it is the first one, like pretty sure, like 80% sure. And yeah, so it surrounds Blink Coyote, who's testing it, trying to work out his powers with his girlfriend. Like they're training together. And because he has problems that when he comes or he's just about to orgasm, he blinks away because he's got blink teleportation as a power, and it kind of, you know, obviously ruins the mood because he can't finish in her or whatever. And yeah, and then he, oh my god, where does it go? And then yeah, and after that he goes on like a normal kind of patrol, and you see him doing kind of awesome superhero stuff, and then I mean, this is spoilers, but you find out after the fact that he gets in this kind of captive situation where this scientist dude has a collar that blocks his powers and he can't blink, and he's in quite a lot of danger. And then you find out it's all like a setup by his girlfriend, who's like, you know, starts to... Okay, so this is probably where you're going to be able to see it, but I kind of wish I did reread it again, but I didn't reread it again because I read it so many times, I also didn't really feel like it. But one thing that I just thought of then is, like, I really want to see how well set up the girlfriend character with her turning evil / bad is... Because off the top of my head, with my memory, I don't remember anything stand outish, other than, you know, because he falls for the scientist who's a possum guy who has pretty cool anatomically correct penises for his species, and he kind of falls for him, and then she gets jealous and angry. Then you kind of find out she made the collar, and yeah, like it's a pretty cool story. It ends a lot cooler than I'm trying to talk about it here, but like no, you should totally Don't Blink by Kyle Gold, and I guess I'll just end there on that failed summary of it. But I do like it. I just didn't feel like reading it again because I've read it like like 6 or 8 times, like too many. So yeah, that was pretty much Heat 4, published and released in 2007. Yeah, I quite like it. Okay, so having a quick quiz with the afterglow at the end, it answers some of the questions I had. So they go on to explain in the first paragraph here that the main reason why they skipped a year is that they moved and they both got new jobs, like I guess Jeff Eddy and Alopex. I'm not too sure. He's talking in the afterword, and yeah, and they had a bunch of other stuff going on, and the deadline came and went, and then they realized, you know, if they want to like get Heat out every year, they're gonna look at getting help. And they said that's where Tim Sussman, aka Kyle Gold, stepped in with Kevin Frayne, aka Rikoshi, and Cam Hirosaki, to do like associate editors, like to go through the slush pile and editing stories and getting artists for them and stuff like that. And yeah, and then they were saying how, because this was a point I was going to raise, is how it's a very big kind of dick fest, Heat 4. There's not too much women in it, let alone female pairings. And they go on to mention that they're looking for submissions of women who prefer women, and they want to, you know, broaden it. And they, broaden it, yeah. And yeah, Heat submissions are open as always. So yeah. This time around, Heat 4, the managing editor is Alopex, with associate editors Kevin Frayne and Tim Sussman, and the chief publisher is Jeff Eddy. Loudly the Maid was by Alex Vance, illustrated by Sarah Palmer. Chance Happenstance was Blotch. First Taste by Reachin, illustrated by Fell. Nothing Else by Aluminum Screw and illustrated by Aluminum Screw. It's probably Aluma. I feel so bad now. The Last Coyote Story, written by Jonas and illustrated by Jonas. Motion of the Ocean by Fluke. Don't Blink by Kyle Gold, illustrated by John Newman-Nasher. And the front cover illustration was by Fluke, the back cover illustration was by Blotch, and the afterglow illustration is by Blotch again. Heat was published in 2007. Contact Heat in Minnesota. Yeah. Sofawolfpress.com. No, Sofawolf.com is Sofawolf Press. So, yeah, that was Heat 4. I'm pretty sure it's mostly just me right now, but I would say it's not a bad Heat or anthology, even on that level. Like, it's pretty good. Like, I quite like it. Though I would kind of question how memorable is it? When you stack it up to the rest of the Heats in the anthology, it's kind of just there. You know, hopefully that opinion changes, but you know, right now that's kind of just it, like going through it. But you know, on everything on its own, I like pretty much all the entries in it. There's nothing I really hated. Yeah, obviously, besides Loudly the Maid and how that made me feel, but you know, I didn't hate it. I loved it, but you know, it doesn't mean I was happy with it. So yeah, that's been Heat 4, and I've been Reyfar, and I'll catch you later.